captured for the first time ever on video the giant squid. The mysterious creature can grow to 50 feet long with eyes the size of dinner plates.
We've got something the size of a 2 to 4 story house that we've never seen.
A colossal sea monster that terrorized the oceans millions of years ago.
Forget the skyscrapers and cherry blossom trees, we'll show you the side of Japan you've never seen before. Giant cephalopods washing ashore, mysterious aerial phenomena, and crazy reveals from the past. Buckle up. Attention to detail. In 2015, divers exploring Toyama Bay in Japan encountered a rare giant squid, which typically spends its life deep underwater, was floating casually as if it was running errands. The squid was estimated to be 3.7 meters long, roughly equal to 12 feet. It was one of the largest ever seen in the area, and was miraculously healthy. That's rare, even for a giant squid. Now, you may be tempted to pet the guy, but its bright red color is a warning sign. It turns out this mollusk can release venom from its mouth, and it's quite dangerous for humans as well as other rivals. So, if you ever encounter this creature when diving, it's best to swim back to the shore. Shore sorry. Two years back in Japan, a huge squid was found stranded at Yugo Beach and mesmerized locals by its size. The 3-meter giant was as tall as 2 adults stacked on top of one another. Though on its last breath, the creature still looks magnificent. The faded whitish color of squid suggests a dark cause. You see, losing pigmentation is a sign of cell degeneration, and you know very well what happens if all the cells collapse. Researchers estimated the squid would not survive in a competitive environment. Thus, it couldn't be released back into the ocean. Ultimately, authorities decided to shift the animal to Ekasen Marashima Aquarium in the city of Saka. Inky arrival. Captured in 2022 at Obama in western Japan, this sea dweller came for a visit in shallow waters. And here's the best part. This one is not only alive, but also has a vibrant color, which indicates that it is healthy. That's quite a remarkable feat. If you consider its length, the creature is about 3 meters tall. That is longer than a giraffe's neck. You can even observe it slowly propelling in the water, giving us a fascinating look into marine organisms and jet propulsions. Despite its remarkable health, the squid seemed unwilling to return to the ocean. Perhaps it beached itself to protect against predators. Thus, it was transported to the local aquarium for analysis. Since squids are highly intelligent and unique, scientists use this rare opportunity to learn more about this fascinating creature. Cape's loss. Recorded in 2021, this squid is living its final moments.
This is a squid that's washed up on the beach.
The squid was discovered by a beachgoer who had never seen a creature of its immense size before. The tentacles of this squid alone are 8 feet long, and when measured against the man, it's clear the squid easily leaves him kicking in the dust.
And it's still a good 6 feet longer than what he is.
Sadly, the squid's appearance isn't a cause for celebration. Judging by the slight discoloration on the squid and its feeble moments, the creature wouldn't have survived long. In such cases, even returning the squid to the ocean would be futile. But considering the odds, this squid seemed pretty relaxed. The squid was later acquired by the Isco Museum situated in South Africa to be part of their natural science history collection. Last wishes. Beachgoers discovered a juvenile giant squid seeking shelter at a secluded spot on the beach. It's not unusual to see a giant squid in such a state. Such sea creatures often break the surface and swim to the shore if they're in distress or in the last stages of life. But here's why seeing this squid in a pitiable condition was even more heartbreaking. Most giant squids live about 4 to 6 years and will succumb to natural disasters. Judging by the size of the squid, this colossal is just a juvenile, suggesting it may have been too young to see such a fate. Although beachgoers wanted to approach the squid, they remained at a distance. Sadly, the squid passed away later that night, and beachgoers sectioned off the area to let it rest in peace. White shroud. This is probably the first and maybe the only time we'll see an entirely white squid washed ashore. Sadly, the truth is sadder than the sight. Giant squids spend their entire lives deep underwater. They rarely emerge to the surface, and when they do, it's never a good story. Squids get their bright color from special cells called chromatocytes. When these majestic creatures begin to age and get closer to the Grim Reaper's door, the chromatocytes lose colors or stop functioning altogether, causing the squid to turn white, a clear indication that the squid has passed away. Chili cephalopod. In 2007, members of a fishing crew were on a cruise in the Antarctica region. As they were pulling back the fishing line, they accidentally captured a gigantic colossal squid. As squids typically thrive close to a depth of 500 meters, and since most fishing lines can't get too far, how they were able to accidentally hook a giant squid is a mystery.
Oh, watch that mouth, they eat you alive, that one.
The Antarctic squid was later transported to the lab for scientific analysis. And here's an insight into how marvelous the discovery is. Even Steve O'Shea, the squid maniac who's taught us a lot about these mollusks, was excited. Grim Reaper's knock. Last year on the coast of Tokyo, deep-sea divers were stunned when they came across an incredibly rare giant squid. I mean, look at the size! The average height of squids is estimated to be up to a couple of meters. But this particular one was roughly 8 feet. That's as long as a small car. Although squid sightings aren't that uncommon, giant squids are incredibly elusive and only surface when they're on the brink of passing away. Unfortunately, this giant squid was going through something similar, and probably surfaced knowing it wasn't going to survive long. The Ninjin. If you think that you have heard about the existence of all the creepy creatures, wait till you hear about Japanese Ninjin. Ninjins are considered to be human-like underwater sea creatures. They are thought to have pale skin and a body like a mermaid, with the voice of a siren. This video is considered to be the real footage of the sea monster by some, let's just say extra imaginary people. Well, this is not the only sighting. Some sightings of mysterious creatures have been recorded, and it is believed that they might be related to the Japanese monster. For instance, this creature was recorded in 2013. Well, what do you think? Is it a hoax or reality? An odd victim. In 2013, a weird-looking creature was found ashore on the surface after a tsunami. The creature looked like the remains of the whale, but on closer inspection, its texture resembled that of a rock. The locals could not figure out what it was, but still they tried to help this clueless creature, or, object. Could it be the new type of animal discovered, or was it something out of our imagination? Or worse, could it be an animal left behind by extraterrestrial beings? Well, I can't answer that. The mystery creature was picked up by authorities, who haven't peeped a word since. Sandy oddity. Another cephalopod member was found beached on the sand at the coastline of New Zealand in September 2022. this enormous squid was severely dehydrated and had long passed by the time it was discovered by a group of tourists. Coming across a giant squid, even if it's just a carcass, is rare. The tour guide of the scene described this moment as once-in-a-lifetime experience. The tourists were especially intrigued by its piercing beak and elongated head. They even compared sizes. The size of this animal was roughly equivalent to the length of a streetlight pole. Now that is indeed big. This sight was exciting and devastating at the same time due to the fate of the squid. Dynamite discovery. In 2013, paleontologists had to go through great challenges to excavate the first fossil of a dinosaur in Japan.
Finger of Hadrosaurus, as expected. It's a toe.
After cautiously approaching the dig site in days' worth of efforts, they unveiled a collection of bones, which included the tailbone and parts of the vertebrae. Interestingly, the adventure didn't end there. Researchers had to use a plastering technique to shield the discovered bones from bumps and any potential damage during transport.
Once the plaster hardens, move the rock away from the location.
Once at the research facility, these bones were carefully laid out and analyzed. And this is where paleontologists discovered they were looking at the remains of a Hadrosaurus, a plant-eating dino that roamed Japan over 60 million years ago. How cool is that? Battle of the Giants. There can only be one marine giant. This is what this sperm whale probably thought right before it engulfed the squid. Naturally, their big size contributes to a bigger appetite, which is why this one here decided to dine on a giant squid. Have a look at this squid tentacle protruding from the sperm whale's mouth. It was certainly one heck of a battle. What makes it even more exciting is that although we've known about sperm whales and their dinner preferences, beyond this exceptional scene, there's no other footage of the interaction anywhere. I guess the Japanese are not the only ones to enjoy squid sashimi. Ghost ships. In 2017, a weird phenomenon occurred on the coast of Japan. Multiple stranded ships were found washed on the sand at the shore. The Japanese Coast Guard reported that almost 95 such ships were found in the year. Who do these ships belong to? What's more disturbing is that when lifting off the boats, researchers also discovered the remains of the crew that manned these ships. It was later discovered that the ships belonged to Koreans, but the distance between Korea and the Japanese Sea is about 600 miles. How did these standard boats travel such a large distance? Is this some supernatural phenomenon or just a coincidence? The Japanese government suspected that these boats belonged to the poachers. Do you think that some hidden force punished them for their crimes? Jurassic swimmer. We've heard about dinosaurs walking the earth, but wait till you hear about what lurked in our oceans. In 2006, a fossil of a fish was discovered on the ground of Wakimi Prefecture, Japan. The fossil was thought to be of a masosaur, a fish species that was considered to be at the top of the oceanic food chain of the Cretaceous period, an era that occurred 72 million years ago. This 6-meter-long fossil was considered to be a pre-existing one. But the tables turned in 2023 when officials of Wakima Prefectural Museum Natural History announced that it was the remains of a new genus. That means we're actively discovering creatures we didn't know existed. The fossil is still under study, so we've yet to learn more. Arrow mystery. In 2018, a passenger in a plane recorded a strange-looking object in the sky while flying over Japan. Could this be an alien visit? And if so, the question is, why are aliens frequently visiting Japan? After the release of the video, a lot of people considered it to be a hoax. To them, it seemed too good to be true. But the thing is that the video had no signs of CGI or tampering. so we cannot say it's fake. If this one does not convince you about the existence of extraterrestrial creatures, I don't know what will. Extraterrestrial outburst. In 2020, viewers observed something bizarre during the live stream set up for monitoring the activities of volcano Sukajurami. The flying object was seen, followed by multiple flying objects moving peculiarly. A total of 7 UFOs were seen to be following the leading UFO. After the stream, no official statement was given about the nature of this incident. Some people were convinced that the flying objects were related to alien visits, while others claimed it to be a supernatural phenomenon, giving them the name of spiritual orbs. Well, what do you think? Octo, no more? The coast of Japan is a site of mesmerizing and shocking life discoveries. In 2021, a Japanese ROV exploring the site of West Marion Ridge captured sight of a peculiar octopus known as seven-armed octopus, swimming freely underwater. This is the closest look we can get to observe the natural habitat and behavior of this organism. The length of this particular octopus is estimated to be 11 feet, which is roughly taller than 2 divers combined. And they are bulky as well, with a weight of 165 pounds. Though named 7-armed, it does have 8 arms. The reason for acquiring such a name is that males have their 8th arm adapted for fertilizing eggs, and it's stashed in a little sac right under their eye. Glow in the dark! In 2023, on the beach of Hamatsusa, a town in Japan, an ambiguous object was discovered washed on the shore. No one seemed to know what it was. A bomb squad was immediately called due to the unknown nature of the sphere to avoid any further threat. Fortunately, the X-ray scan revealed that the shiny ball was hollow from the inside, so it was not a risk for the people. The sphere was about 5 feet in diameter and remained there for weeks. Some conspiracy theorists claimed it to be a secret spying instrument, while some paranormal enthusiasts considered it to be a Godzilla egg. Some also considered it to be the ball of gold. Well, all that glitters is not gold. Living fossil. In 2020, a group of fishermen retrieved a shark from the depths of the ocean in Wakima Prefecture, Japan. Their features closely resemble that of the sharks found in the prehistoric era. The spookiness of the fish's appearance makes it evident enough. These are called frilled sharks. They are named after their 6 gills, which are shaped with unique frills, almost like the ones you'd find on a doll's dress. These creatures are like living fossils, having changed little since prehistoric times. It's incredibly rare for them to surface. In fact, they've never been seen beyond this one. How it was caught is still a mystery, but it was later transported to the local aquarium to preserve its life. Japanese mummy. In 2022, a bizarre mummy was discovered in a temple situated in Aokiyama Prefecture, Japan.
慎重に箱から取り出されたのはミイラ。
When the characteristics of mummies were studied, it revealed some unsettling discoveries. The upper half of the mummy contained teeth and nails, eerily resembling humans. However, the lower part resembled a fish with clear scales. Could this be the mummy of a mermaid? Since most scientists don't believe in the existence of mermaids, it was only a few researchers who decided to further examine the structure for answers.
人魚伝説に現代科学が挑むプロジェクトが始まりました。
Now it makes us wonder, will there ever be a day when science proves the existence of mermaids? Well, I'd surely love to be a part of that world. Noggin mystery. In 2015, the shore of Tokyo flooded with several melon-headed dolphins. These majestic animals were probably left stranded due to the rising waves of the sea. Almost 100 of these animals were found on land, fighting for their lives. The local people tried to lift the mammal and reunite them with their home. But it was a hefty task, as each weighed more than 400 pounds, with varying lengths going up to 9 feet. Sadly, this meant saving all of the dolphins wasn't a possibility. While some of the lucky ones were saved, tragically, countless didn't survive. The city is now actively working to prevent such circumstances from happening in the future. Blues and bones. In 2018, the carcass of an endangered species washed up on the shore of Yugama Beach. The creature was determined to be a blue whale, and it was the first ever whale to be discovered on Japanese land. This giant had a vast length of 30 meters, which is equivalent to roughly 3 giant squids combined. It weighed even more, about 70 tons. Its unique features attracted beachgoers who flocked to the area to catch a glimpse. However, since it was an incredibly rare discovery, and because authorities had yet to find out the cause behind its demise, the beach area was sectioned off. Authorities later revealed the whale might have passed away from pollution, which speaks volumes about our environment. Shimmering riddle. In 2023, in Mashiki Town, Kumamoto, an unfamiliar scene was captured on camera by a resident. A whitish, thin, and elongated object was seen floating in the sky.
空に浮かぶ白くて細長い物体。
The object had an undulating movement, almost as if it had control over itself. The size of the object was estimated to be 10 meters. Onlookers were amazed at such a spectacle and believed it to be a living creature. The thin film layer vanished into thin air. Even more amazingly,
合志市で撮影された映像。
previously similar incidents had also been observed by people of Kumamoto Prefecture and Mashiki Town. The creature was also seen in other countries too, such as Mexico. Until now, no official has addressed the situation, so the nature of this mystery is still elusive. Tentacle teaser. It's not only squids that turn up at the beach. Sometimes other colossal sea creatures also like to visit land once in a while. Just like in 2016, when a weird creature was found on a Japanese beach. No one knew whether it was a mysterious animal or just a decomposed one. It was rubbery like a whale, but it had a gooey texture in some places too. Some confused onlookers even considered it something akin to a crocodile. So, what was it exactly? No one seemed to know the answer. Since carcasses often carry diseases or harmful bacteria, and because authorities couldn't figure out what it was, the carcass was handed out to the federal attorney for environmental protection and has since remained a mystery. Ancient Jumbo. We don't know much about the creatures that walked the earth centuries ago, but this one's amazing find has turned the game in our favor. Yucca, an exceptionally well-preserved woolly mammoth mummy, was discovered in the Siberian permafrost. Her remains included not just bones, but also fur, flesh, and parts of her internal structure. Her fur seemed as if it was only a few years old. What's crazier is that Yucca was only 6 or 7 years old when she passed away, around 40,000 years ago. Even more intriguing detail is that researchers found light markings on Yucca's body, resembling the ones drawn from primitive human tools, suggesting she was one of the few mammoths to interact with humans. Amazing, isn't it? Real-life Mothman. Now, what is it? From its propelling motion, you'd think it's a flying squid. Sure, it glides like one, but where are the tentacles? It seems baffling. Some people believe it's the elusive Mothman, finally visible outside the myths, but it seems something more. Okay, you know what? I give up on this one. Well, I guess some puzzles are never solved. Good luck figuring this out. I'll leave it to your imagination. Celestial corkscrew. This might be one of those craziest occurrences. In January 2023, a flurry of residents claimed they'd seen some weird spiral shapes moving in the sky. Sure, most of them were met with ridicule, but the camera captured the incident in its entirety, changing the narrative otherwise. The radiant spiral began as an orb, and within a few minutes, loomed ominously overhead. Countless claimed it was an ejected rocket part, while others joked it was a wormhole that inspired Van Gogh. We don't know what it is, but it's surely causing many to spiral out of control. Cosmic clues. Japanese researchers recently released proof of alien existence.
わかりますかね、ここ。白い物体が
A mysterious UFO was seen flying over a steep mountain range in Japan. Now, before you go on about how it could just be another aircraft, hold on to your horses. The researchers who released the footage declared an aircraft couldn't fly that close to the mountain because of its immense height and the rough winds surrounding the area. They even released a bunch of photos that they claim belong to the same UFO. Now, I'm no UFO expert, but I think they're onto something here. Veil of Horror. In the quiet neighborhood of Iwaki City, Fukushima Prefecture, an extraordinary event unfolded as a colossal black object floated across the sky. The video was captured by Yuka Takagi, a resident. The size of the object appeared to be several times larger than the average height of a person. The footage sparked curiosity in the area. On further police investigation, it was revealed to be something not so whimsical. It was a helium-fitted sheet for experimental purposes related to agricultural activities. The sheet had inadvertently escaped from the laboratory. Well, here's science won over fiction. UFO. Most UFO sightings turn out to be a blurry sighting of the moon, but this one just flipped the script. The video was recorded in November 2020 in Japan by a citizen who thought he was capturing an exceptionally bright moon. But then the bright orb blinked. And this is where things got messy. The weird flying orb continued blinking for a bit until it started moving. Just like that, within a moment, it disappeared. So far, we have no idea what it is. Well, you know all those times we thought the moon was following our car? I think you know where this is going. Nautical nuisance. In 2014, a stranded boat was observed covered entirely with barnacles. This makes us wonder how long the boat had been in the ocean to be extremely infected by these crustaceans. Either way, the step was very important for barnacles. Barnacles are filter feeders, and being attacked to a surface in water currents is essential. The water flowing past them brings food, like plankton, right to their doorstep. But that is not the shocking part. The thing is that the barnacles were still alive and could be seen breathing. It's certainly an unsettling sight. Tinted by danger. This river in Okinawa should have been named the Red Sea, and you'd be surprised to learn it wasn't always like that. But in 2023, the river converted into a startling crimson. The reason for it may shock you, but it was beer. No, they were not trying to get fish drunk. It was all an accident. A liquid from the beer tank cooling system leaked and flooded the nearby ports up to a distance of about half a mile. The leakage was not the beer. It was the cooling agent that was dyed red for observation. People were displeased by this incident. The manufacturer apologized for the incident, but claimed that it did not pose any threat to humans. Intense affection. Imagine surfing and coming across this guy. You'd probably scream out of your excitement, right? Just like this group of surfers. Recorded in 2017, this red-shaded buddy was casually swimming close to the surface. Even the surfers were excited and ventured as close as they could, eventually causing the squid to latch onto one surfer's board. Even then, they didn't think much until it wouldn't let go. It's all fun and games until the squid starts taking control of the surfboard. The squid was probably trying to identify the board, but it caused quite a panic. Luckily, the situation was resolved in a friendly manner. Well, I guess cats aren't the only ones with curiosity. Sky Cruiser. Speaking of the mysterious, led us to this peculiar spectacle. This video was recorded on an undisclosed site in Japan and posted on TikTok. The viewers were divided on the spectacle. Some said it was just a cloud with distorted sunlight, while others claimed it to be an alien spaceship. Well, who knew that aliens could be that aesthetic? Anyway, some also considered it to be the portal to another dimension. Few people also reported that they had also observed similar scenes in their own country. Whether nature or fiction, we can all agree that the sight indeed is astounding. Nature's curveball. In 2020, a strange sky phenomenon was observed in the Kinki and Chubi regions of Japan. It seemed like the sun was falling off the clouds. But, of course, that was likely not the case. What was it then? Some thought that this luminous burst was the rocket falling down. It sure looks mystical, but it is nothing more than a fireball. According to the experts, the brightness of this sight is comparable to the brightness of the moon. Some people still consider it to be a supernatural phenomenon. I guess science is not everyone's cup of tea. Sensational event. It's raining pumice! Sounds mythical, but it is a tale that came to life at the Okinawa beach in Japan, where the entire sea was suddenly engulfed by pumice. The stones were dissolved in the water up to an estimated depth of 30 meters. Even countless boats were covered with this stuff. It was assumed that the stones traveled a distance of 1,500 kilometers from Ogasawara Island, where they floated after cascading from the mountains. But hey, do not even think about swimming in such water, as it may be harmful to your health. The sight may be attractive, but the adverse nature of this phenomenon affected the area's fishing and tourism for a while. Reflective vanity. On the list of strange discoveries, Japan does not seem to take a break. This time, it's an archaeological dig near Nara. In 2023, while excavating the biggest circular burial mound from the 4th century in Tomio, Maramama, experts uncovered an ancient sword measuring a whopping 7.5 feet. This sword is hailed as the longest from that era. But wait, there's more! Alongside the sword, they stumbled upon a unique shield-shaped mirror, weighing over 12 pounds and measuring 25 inches in length. This mirror shield is truly one of its kind, as it is also believed to have been used to ward off evil spirits. It's time for today's open discussion. Beachgoers came across a giant squid carcass during an early walk. To say it was an impressive find would be an understatement. The carcass had drifted ashore sometime during the night. Who knows? It may be that the squid encountered a predator and was eventually brought to the shore by crashing waves. But here's the more interesting thing. You see, just at the center of a squid's body is its beak. And although it's as tough as a bird's, it's much more powerful. It is capable of cutting through the toughest of materials. In fact, it can even pierce cans.
Put it in there. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! Do it again, do it again, do it again.
What makes this entire ordeal scarier is the beak's strength. It can be dangerous to an encounter even after passing away. How frighteningly cool is that? Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.